Alright, welcome back to MTG Life. This here will be our very third video. Now, this one here is not going to be over deck techs. This here is more or less kind of a glimpse into future deck techs and more or less letting you guys know, see what we will possibly end up be doing deck techs over, and give you a chance to kind of vote and decide what you want to do deck techs over. I will go ahead and say this. I'm basically going to show you guys every single legendary creature that I have within my own collection. Now, a large amount of these already are in their own commander decks, which I will eventually end up doing deck techs over. Then they, of course, involve several other legendary creatures in them, and of course those ones also have their own deck, commander decks for themselves. So I'll also let you know about that, and I'm basically going to talk about the different interactions that different legendary creatures can have within a commander deck. I will not go into big deck techs conversation or anything really. You'll just kind of be talking about the intricacies. There we go. I couldn't speak for a moment there. Someone's probably yelling at me in the comment section. Please feel free. And I would like to go ahead and say this: if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. If you do, I will eventually end up doing some more deck techs, and I do have multiples of some of these legendary creatures. If you subscribe, we will do a stakes where you can try and win them. It will not be any kind of patron giveaway. It'll be free for any kind of subscriber. If you watch the video, comment, and stuff like that, we'll end up doing some free giveaways. Yeah. And there'll be legendary creatures if you want them signed. I'll sign them, but you probably don't want them signed. It ain't like I'm some big popular person, am I? But yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and get into it. The first card we have that I have a commander deck made of is Kambal, Console of Allocation. I probably pronounced some of that wrong. He is a black and a white for a 1 generic mana for a legendary human visor 2/3. With whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about that deck. The deck is basically, you lock down your opponent's board so that they have to start playing spells to do something. Lock down their creatures so that they have to do whatever they need to do to get rid of the enchantments or artifacts or whatever you have that's locking them down. Especially if you're playing a blue deck, they're going to rely very heavily on their spells and such. Now, within this deck, because we are gaining some life within this, it is also a life gain deck. I'm not going to go much into it on here, but of course that means we play Vona, Butcher of Magan, which we also have another deck over, which of course is a large life gain deck, which would be a Vampire Tribal as well. This is a black-white 3 generic mana for a 4/4 legendary Vampire Knight with Vigilance lifelink. You tap, you pay 7 life, destroy target non-land permanent. Activate this ability only during your turn. Now then, of course, it's going to be a life gain deck with that. I play them in here because when you can gain some life and destroy. Not going to go much into it. No need to spoil the fun. Arvad the Curse is also in here. You guys should know what that is. If you don't, he just basically gives your other stuff +2/+2 if they're legendary. If you want to see any kind of deck tech over anything that I don't say has its own commander deck, feel free. Let me know, and I'll make a deck tech on it. If you have any other cards that I do not show, any other legendary creature you want to see a deck tech over, let me know, and I'll work on that, and I'll make my own deck tech and all that stuff. So just feel free to let me know. Now then, this next one here is, I'm hoping to be the very first commander deck tech we do. I'm still working out the kinks on it, and I may or may not do this as the first one, depending upon how it goes, because I don't want to give you some janky deck tech over something, which is going to be Kresh, the Blood Braided. Black, red, green for 2 generic mana for a 3/3 legendary human warrior. Whenever another creature dies, you may put X/1/1 counters on him, where X is that creature's power. Now then, I really like this deck. It's Jund, everyone's favorite color, and I really hope to be making it as my very first commander deck tech for this channel. Now then, we have actually 3 other legendary creatures within that deck. I'm not going to go super into them. I'll tell you their abilities and such. Secure Deathkeeper, a same exact mana cost for a 4/3. Whenever another non-token creature you control is put into a graveyard from play, put a 3/1 black-red Graveborn token. I may make a commander deck out of him. I do not know. Feel free to let me know what y'all's thoughts. If you guys have any kind of ideas on anything, let me know. It's all just a fun thing. Garna, the Blood Flame, she's got flash, returns creatures you control that were killed this turn. Other stuff you control gets aced. I don't ever really plan on doing a commander deck for her. Odds are, she's more of a utility card, not really made due to her. She has 5 converted mana costs as a 3/3. Yes, she has 5, but she's not really made to be as a commander because you can't really play her as a surprise kind of thing. She's largely played as a utility within the deck. Search it with a tutor card or whatever you need to do. She's not. If you got someone probably has a commander deck over her, I just don't really see it as being one. I don't ever really plan on making her one. She's not really going to be good as it. We do play Tamaret the Murder King. Black red for 2/2 has sacrifice abilities stuff. Never really gonna probably make that a commander deck tech either. Now then, if I do not have Kresh deck tech ready, the very first commander deck tech other than Kresh we will do, if I cannot do his, will be Omnith, Locus of Rage. 2 green, 2 red for 3 generic mana for a 5/5 legendary elemental with landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token onto the battlefield. When Omnith, Locus of Rage or another elemental you control dies, he deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Okay, people. This is one of my other favorite decks as well. I get the feeling that odds are people will probably want this, and I just may go ahead and, even if the Kresh deck is ready, go ahead and do an Omnith deck tech because it seems like the kind of thing that people would enjoy seeing. He's always been a real popular card in that deck, and I may also I'm probably never going to make this other card. This other card is a legendary within the deck. It'll probably never become an actual commander within the deck. It's probably going to be something that you can just switch out as the commander within that same deck, which is Mina and Din Wildborn, red green, 2 generic mana for 4/4. Play additional land each turn. Now then, on to one of our next commanders that I have a deck tech for is Tatyova Benthic. Blah, 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 blah. Sometimes I can't speak, people. Benthic Druid, my bad. A green-blue 3 generic mana for a 3/3 Merfolk Druid. Whenever land is battlefield you control, gain 1 life and draw a card. You can kind of pretty much figure out what the deck is about. In that deck, we run Slyn Voda, the Rising Deep, which is 2 blue and 6 generic mana for an 8/8 Leviathan with kicker. It enters battlefield. If it was kicked, return all creatures to their owner's hand, except for Merfolk, Krakens, Leviathans, Octopuses, and Serpents. This next card, I alternate it every now and then between this deck and the Omnith deck, and I may even make its own commander deck, which is Multani, Yamivaya's avatar, which is 2 green, 4 generic mana for elemental avatar. Reach, trample, Multani. It gets +++ for each land card on the field and in your graveyard. It's 0/0. This next card, that one, that Multani, you can just alternate them throughout some other stuff. Let me know if you guys want to see a deck tech over him. I'll probably, by the time in this channel, we'll probably eventually end up actually doing a deck tech on every single one of these legendary creatures. And then after that, I may end up going into the ones that I don't actually own. This next one is a card that I'm actually still working on the deck, so it'll be a while before you guys ever see it. This is actually one that has some of the most legendary creatures within the deck. And it's really one I'm working on. I'm actually really excited to make this. I don't normally run a white color deck ever, and I haven't ever ran a red-white deck ever. So this is a little something different for me. It's Jor Kadeen, the Prevailer from New Phyrexia. You gotta love that art. Look at the art. If you guys can't see it right, and you can't just appreciate the beautiful artwork on that, go search it up. It's really beautiful. It's a red-white for 3 generic mana for a 5/4 legendary human warrior with first strike and Metalcraft. For those of you guys who don't know what Metalcraft is, because you're not old enough, or weren't just playing or are too new for it. It's really a kind of it's really an ability I wish that they would bring back. It's always been a decent ability. Its Metalcraft is creatures you control get +3/+0 as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. That +3/+0 could be flying or something else, or for this creature gets this. It really depends on the card, but he makes a really good commander. Of course, you can kind of see what the deck would be about. Other cards we have in this deck that may or may not become their own commanders is SRAM, Senior Edificer, which is a white and one generic mana for a 2/2 Dwarf Advisor. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this commander deck. Was that it was originally supposed to be mono red, which was originally supposed to be made for Valduk, Keeper of the Flame, which is 1 red and 2 generic mana for a legendary human warrior, 3/2 at the beginning of combat. On your turn, for each aura and equipment attached to him, create a 3/1 red elemental creature token with haste. Exile those at the beginning of your end step. Yeah, it was originally supposed to be made just for him, but I found Jorkadeen and decided to turn it into a red-white and throw him in there as part of it. I may actually end up doing his own commander deck for himself, and actually we may end up putting them against each other. When I get better equipment and stuff, I'll actually probably end up doing like gameplay videos. For this, when I get setups for that, I'll do gameplay videos. I'm hoping to do some pack openings here in a week or so, maybe even in a few days. So you guys may want to keep an eye open on some of these videos for that. The next card that is actually in the Jorkadeen deck is Danitha, Caption Paragon. She is a white and 2 generic mana for a human knight legendary creature. 2/2, First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink, or an equipment spell you cast costs 1 less to cast. I think you can kind of get the idea of what that deck is about. Another legendary we run in that deck is Pia Nalar, which is a red and 2 generic mana for a 2/2. Enters battlefield, you get a Thopter, and you do some other abilities. Now, for those of you, let's take a moment and let me tell you a little bit about my game style and how I enjoy doing decks and stuff. Those of you, some of you may hate me after this now, but I'm an Infect player. I'm an Eldrazi player. I enjoy tribal stuff. Yeah, I'm one of those kind of people that likes to put like 1 Infect card into like any kind of deck. Like Phyresis, which is a black and 1 generic, gives target creature, which is an enchantment, which gives enchanted creature Infect. Or like a Triumph of the Hordes in a deck. Yeah, I like kind of getting out of left field, so my friends always target me in our games. Cause even if I'm not running any Infect, they're like, you could have switched out a card. No. But this next deck tag is largely centered around, whenever I do the video over it, will largely be centered around Infect stuff. So if you don't like Infect, you may not want to watch it. If you do, you may want to actually watch it. And the commander, which is Hapatra Vizier of Poisons, which is a black-green for a 2/2 legendary human cleric. She does combat damage to a player. I may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Whenever you put 1 or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake creature token with Death Touch. Now I want to go ahead and say something, because I ended up having an argument with my friends, and I don't know how many people are actually know about this or not. But due to when Amonkhet and Hour came out, there was actually a change to the rules of Magic, and that was that originally it's like we had the argument over Hapatra's ability, and I'll go ahead and tell you about this. It was that whenever you put 1 or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, see, it was that we ended up arguing over, was because Infect cards say when this creature deals damage to an opponent, it deals damage to -1/-1 counters and stuff like that. So my friends said that it's not you putting it on there, it's the creature. There was a change, and for many years that was actually the case, until like cards like Hippolyta and stuff, where the targets actually kind of matter of what's putting it onto there. So there's been a rule change to where infect is technically, since it's your creature, you are technically putting the neg counters onto whatever creature is getting them. So it activates our ability. Just so you know, I had to fight my friends on this. They hated me. They were angry. They refused to play until I finally pulled up the actual website information on it stuff, showed them screenshots, and even then they didn't like it because they're like, that makes it overpowered. Yeah. Now another card we play in this deck, which is Viti Ildal from Tempest. Yeah, it's an older card, people, which is a black-green, 2 generic mana for a 3/3 legend. You tap target creature's power and toughness is 1 until end of turn. I think you can kind of understand why he's in that deck. Now then, we're going to move on to a next commander deck. That is a commander, which is Shana, Sisei's Legacy. Now, I'm not really going to go much into her. You can kind of understand what her kind of deck is going to be. She's a white-green for a 0/0. Human warrior, can't be the target spells or abilities your opponent control. Gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. I think you kind of understand what kind of thing that would be. In that deck, we do run Shalai, Voice of Plenty, which is a white 3 generic mana for an angel. 3/4 flying. You and planeswalkers you control and other creatures you control have hexproof. Pay 6 to put 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Now then, let's do a little story time. Just so you know, when I say story time, we're gonna go into a little bit more of my story stuff. So feel free to sit here or skip ahead. Now then, this next creature here has a bit of a story. Darigaz, Jund colors for 7/7 dragon with flying, trample, haste. He's 7 mana, by the way. If he would die, instead exile it with 3 egg counters at the beginning of your upkeep. Darigaz, basically whenever, at the beginning of your upkeep, you take an egg counter. At the beginning of your upkeep, if he has none, put him back on the field. Now, I want to complain at Wizards. Why couldn't you just have called it Suspend? Come on. I mean, there's nothing that no cards that affect egg counters, so you can't do anything to mess with that ability. Wizards, come on, think it through. I love you, Wizards, but think it through. Come on, you should have just called it Suspend, and then there are cards where you can put into commander decks with him that affect Suspend stuff. I mean, you can't even take counters off of him because he's not in the game, and most cards say remove counters from target permanent in the game. He's no longer in the game. You could have just called it Suspend, people, Wizards. Now, having that been said, when I first saw this card being spoiled for Dominaria, I was absolutely sure I wanted it. I traded an arm and a leg basically to get this card from a friend. Now, my friend that I traded it from, he didn't really care. He didn't want the card really, because he has Zakama. For those of you guys who know, that's a 9-drop commander for 9/9, vigilance, trample, reach, and it's got like, you pay a red and 2 generic for a bolt ability, pay a white 2 generic to gain 3 life, and you pay a green and 2 generic for destroy target artifact or enchantment. Now, Wizards, now for those of you guys who don't know, I feel like with Darigaz, they were trying to create a card that could rival Zakama, and they kind of failed at that. I mean, okay, they started off with a 7-drop, 7/7 flying, trample, haste. Okay, you guys got it beat on the nose. Zakama's a 9-drop, 9/9 vigilance, reach, trample. Okay, we're going equal there. We're lower power, but we are cheaper mana with a haste ability and flying. Okay, we got it good. Now let's see what fancy abilities you give us, because you gave Zakama every other ability in the world. And he has a Suspend ability that's not called Suspend. Wizards, you messed up on this one. Darigaz could have been a new Zakama that wasn't overpowered to the... Okay, they were either trying to make a card that could reach Zakama levels, but they didn't want to make it to where it reached Zakama levels with every ability in the world. I mean, come on, you guys could have at least have done when he dies, you get a token of like some 5/5 dragon or something like that. I mean, that would have been better, or at least called it suspend. Now, if you had called it suspend, I'd be happy because there are cards that let you take counters off of suspend stuff. But no, you had to call it egg counters. And he's removed from the game. Come on, Wizards. I love Darigaz. I love that he's a Jund color. I just wish that you guys could have given him another ability, because I played against a Zakama deck with my Darigaz deck, and he beat my face in. He bolted my dragon out. A dinosaur on the ground bolted my dragon with fire that's flying in the air above him. Come on. Alright, now then, let's move on. This other deck is a work in progress. It is Inala, Archmage Ritualist. She's a red, black, green, red, black, blue. There we go. 2 generic mana for a 4/5 legendary human wizard. You guys can search her up. I'm not really going to go into it. Now this here is the very last commander deck I actually have made. It is Tetsuko Umezawa Fugitive. Now, it's a blue and 1 generic mana for a 1/3 human rogue. Creatures you control with toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. I feel like no one's really tried to make a commander deck out of it yet. I don't know. I'll have to look around because it seems very underpowered as a commander. It's not really made to be a competitive commander, this deck is. It's made to be fun. It's made to just annoy them. Yeah. I'm that kind of guy. I'd rather make a fun deck that just annoys everyone and makes them laugh at the stuff that's going on in it than make something super competitive. I mean, these decks can still win and they're super cheap. Now then, if you do not have a Tetsuko, I have another one or 2 of them actually, and this here will be one that we will give away to subscribers here in a few stuff. So let your friends know, have them watch videos. Who knows? Maybe y'all could win them, and I'll be sure to let y'all know when we're doing that stuff. We'll probably actually give them away for those when we do those commander deck techs. So keep your ears open. Now the next card, we actually have another one of these that I actually have 3 of them, I believe, and we'll probably end up giving them away too. We may end up doing a commander deck tech video on this whenever I finally get more cards with kicker. It's Halar, the Firebrander, a green-red and 1 generic mana for a 3/3 elf archer with trample. Whenever you cast a spell, if that spell was kicked, put a 1/1 counter on him. He deals damage equal to the number of 1/1 counters to each opponent. Yeah, if you guys want to win one of those, let me know. Be sure to watch. We may not. I don't really have the stuff to make him, so I'll probably end up just doing him as a giveaway in a different video. Yeah, and we're like only halfway through. See, this is the stack, and I want you to remember that these cards are sleeves. This is a stack we've been through. This is how much we gotta go through. These aren't sleeved. Yes, I have a lot of legendary stuff. I've actually traded several throughout, like quite more than I've actually gotten throughout the years. I actually ended up buying something from a yard sale. They ended up having quite a few. Our next card that we are... Now, if you guys want to see any kind of deck tech videos on these, let me know. I'd actually prefer to hear y'all's advice on how to make a deck tech over this stuff, because I would much rather make commander deck techs over these. But I honestly don't really know how to go about some of these. So how about you guys let me know what you guys think. Tell me your advice and how you think a deck would go good in this. Feel free, comment. Let me know what you guys are liking about this. I honestly don't know how this kind of video would go. I'm going to be posting quite a few videos for the next few weeks. probably multiple a day whenever I do, because I just enjoy talking about Magic, and this is just something that lets me talk about something that I love to do that I can't do because I don't have anyone who lives within an hour's drive from me who plays Magic. I can't even get to the local card store because it's like an hour and a half drive away. Yeah, it's lonely here. I'm lonely, lonely for love. Anyways, let's go on. Inami, Death Aspect. 2 black for generic mana for a legendary 4/4 spirit. When it comes into play, you may search your library for any number of spirit cards and put them into your graveyard. If you do, shuffle your library. That's one I kind of want to make a commander deck over, but I don't really know how I'd go about it. Or would you guys recommend putting her in a different kind of spirit commander deck? Let me know. Here's another one that I was interested in actually making into a commander for the longest time, but I couldn't figure out how to make it work really. Kirkesh Unaki Ancient, which is 2 red, 2 generic mana for a 4/3 Ogre Spirit. With whenever you activate an ability of an artifact, if it isn't a mana ability, you may pay red. If you do copy that ability, you may choose new targets for that ability. Let me know what you guys think on that. Some of this stuff may not be actual commander material. Well, let me know what y'all think. Now, this next card here, I actually had a commander deck of it for a while. I actually took it apart. I'm working on it again, which is, but I've kind of put it on hold, which is Sidisi, Brood Tyrant. Yes, that self-mill deck everyone loves. Yes, if you know it, then you know what I'm talking about, and you'll be wanting to see this one. This here was actually, this card here actually holds a very special spot in my heart. It was actually the very first, this card came in a pre-built token deck, I believe. Not pre-built. It was, I started playing Magic in cons. So that's like that was my original, that's where I started. And, I bought a pre-built deck, and it was the Sultai deck. And I believe it came with Sidisi in it. Or I got it out of a pack that I bought along with it and just threw him in there because he had the same little watermark symbol. So I was like, hey, he must work well with it. Anyways, you guys want to hear a little story about that deck? So I was playing against my friend with that deck there. I had lost 60 times already. Hadn't won a single game. Was still learning how to play. So I'm playing my friend AJ, who was like a god at the game compared to me. And the game, and like, so of course I was a newbie, and how my friends taught me, they beat my butt into the ground. That's how they taught me. They smashed my face with their bigger creatures and better combos and all that stuff. And they were basically like, you should have done this. And then I'm like, why? Because now you lost. That's how I learned. And I feel like that's kind of how quite a few of us Magic players learn. It's a little difficult, but hey, you learn trial by fire. Yeah. Anyways, so with Sidisi, this here was actually the very first game. This story here was the very first game I ever won, actually. And part of the story involves text messages between the guy I'm playing and his best friend who's just down in a different classroom. And as I'm playing him, I get Sidisi on the board, and you see, we start playing, and what happens is my friend AJ, he's texting his friend Cody, and he's saying, oh, hey, man, I'm about to play Magic against Nate. I'm going to beat his butt again, like last time. And Cody's like, you mean like the last 30 times? He's like, yeah. And so he stops texting Cody for a few minutes, and at that point in the game, I've gotten Sidisi on the board, and the deck has started working, and he has sent a text to Cody saying, this isn't going as planned. Cody sends a text saying, what's going on? and I'm sitting there just growing up a board of tokens. And he sends back to Cody saying his army is growing. It's not looking good. I don't know what's going on. And he sends a picture of the text, and it's got like I got like 12 or 14 tokens on the field at that point. And he stops texting Cody for a few minutes, and then he sends a text in a few minutes later saying, "I just got crushed by this noob." And I felt so proud. Everyone remembers their very first win of Magic. When that deck, whether it was pre-constructed, you built it from scratch, or whatever, everyone remembers that feeling. Everyone remembers every detail of that game. And you look back and you think, I was so horrible at this compared to what I'm at now. Anyways, yeah, so DC holds a very special spot in my heart. He means a lot. She means a lot to me. And of course, Nagas have of course become something very special to me. Being that I kind of I really hope Wizards will come out with a lot more Nagas, because I'd like some more Nagas that could be a Naga tribal kind of thing. So I'd love to do a black, green, blue Naga tribal with Sidisi at the head, because Sidisi means a lot to me, and everyone's first win with a card, and there's always that one card that you played with that you won with that means a lot to you. Alright, next legendary that I have is a Depala, Pilot Exemplar, which is a red, white, and 1 generic for a 3/3 dwarf pirate. Other dwarves you control get +1/+1. Each vehicle you control gets +1/+1 as long as it's a creature. Whenever Depala becomes tapped, you may pay X. If you do, reveal the vehicle cards from among them. Reveal X cards from your library. Put all X vehicle. When it becomes tapped, you may pay X. If you do, reveal the top X cards of your library. Put all dwarf and vehicle cards from among them into your hand. Then the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I'll probably end up actually making a commander deck out of her, because you can do dwarf, vehicle, tribal, and like I said, I'm all about tribal stuff. I actually have another card, Suruk Dragonclaw. You guys can search them up. That I actually made for a girlfriend at one point. I may see if I can get a hold of that and do it on here. Next card is Arcanus, the Omnipotent, which is 3 blue and 3 generic mana for a 3/4 legendary wizard with tap, draw 3 cards, pay 4, return them to your hand. He's not really much of a commander, unless he's more of a utility thing. Throw him in like a Nekosar or a got him in here. Niv Mizzet, the Fireman. Speaking of him, I might as well just go ahead and show you guys him. You pay 2 red, 2 blue for 2 generic mana for a 4/4 flying dragon wizard. Whenever you draw a card, deals 1 damage, target creature, player, tap, draw a card. I'm not really going to do much more talking about stuff. I'm really just going to show them to y'all and just say a name. Marchesa, Black Rose. Probably end up doing a commander deck tech on. Vela the Nightclad. Tigum, Sidisi's Hand. He'll probably actually go into the Sidisi deck. Nin the Pain Artist. In case you guys haven't noticed, I ended up buying I ended up getting a Arcane Wizardry commander deck. So it kind of annoyed me because, in case you guys haven't noticed recently, the price for that has spiked substantially because some guy played in like some Pro Tour with some of the cards in there and did really well. yeah, so the price for some of those cards have actually spiked, which kind of annoys me because that was at the point when I was getting it. So it caused the price for it, like, it was when I was, like, the day after. Like, I could have done it that day, but I fell asleep, forgot to do it. And then, like, the next day, the price spiked, like, $10, $15, which annoyed me. Kess, Dissident Mage. Marcel the Pretender. Azami, Lady of Scrolls. She's not really much of when you put in deck. She'll actually probably go into, I can tell you guys I'm already going to try to do an Adeliz, the Cinder Wind commander deck. She'll probably end up going in here because it'll probably be a Wizard Tribal deck. I really want to make a Wizard Tribal deck. Standard, Modern, or even Commander. I mean, I don't care. I want to make a Wizard. It's becoming like an actual thing now with all the cards they have coming out. It's becoming an actual possibility. Sorok the Hunt Caller. Yasova Dragonclaw. I actually played her to great effect in a I can't think, in a elemental deck actually. Dwin Guiltleaf Dan. This has always been like a good commander card for an elf tribal, or even just in it. Zahid Dijin of the Lamp. I don't know. Some people say good stuff about this, but I don't see what it is. I mean, you tap, you pay 2 less, yes, and tap an artifact you control for 5/6 flying. I don't know. I don't really like. I get that it's like that, but I mean, like, I don't see like why does that make it so good? I mean, like, what if it was just a 4-drop creature that was like when it enters battle, tap a artifact. Geist of Saint Traft. Okay, so if you guys have heard about the Walmart cubes, it's like $20 for a cube or something, for a plastic cube. It comes with a random precon deck of whatever, commander deck, precon deck, anything, and 2 booster packs. I ended up buying one at one point, and I ended up getting the Angels deck from the Angels versus Demons. This was before I started doing this channel. If I had been doing this at the time, I would have opened it on the channel for y'all to see. Azor the Lawbringer. Raph Capuchin, Ship's Mage. Sorry, y'all. Rona, Disciple of Gix. And Nizahal, Primal Tide. This was actually my Rivals of Ixalan pre-release promo. A little thing, I ended up getting like several of these in the actual pre-release pack in the boosters. I ended up getting several others really annoyed me because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna get some stuff. No, you're only gonna get like half your stuff. Half of the rares you get, rares and or mythics you get, are gonna be the exact same card. I mean, did that happen to anyone else? Let me know, please. Alright, that's actually all the legendary creatures I can remember that I have. Yeah, stay tuned. Let me know what you guys like. Tell me what you guys thought of this kind of video. I honestly don't know how it was it okay? I don't know. Anyways, subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what you guys liked of this. Thoughts. Let me know any kind of ideas for deck techs or anything, please. Alright, thank you.